Guys, I don't want you to worry. Dear listeners, it's okay. Irene knows a guy.
Yeah.
She has a friend in the Catholic archives.
She's got a guy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Irene's got connections.
Yeah.
She kissed the Pope's ring.
Now she's got the hookups.
It's all about networking.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Welcome to Franchise Frights Podcast. I'm Mandy.
I'm Cam.
And we're here.
We're recording on Sunday.
Yay.
And it's gross outside and
very gross.
stupid.
Winter came back.
It did. It came back hard.
Yeah.
Remember, they always come back.
I know. We got to talk about.
Well, tomorrow is Good Friday.
It is?
And we're going to have a nice little family getaway
Yay.
for the Easter holiday we don't celebrate.
Yeah.
This is actually our Christmas present. We just go away to a nice little house on a lake.
Yeah.
And enjoy 4 days of not working. And we're going to eat lots of good food and walk doggies around a lake.
Yeah.
2 beagles.
2 beagles all weekend.
It's going to be a lot.
It's going to be a lot to deal with.
And one of them's a pup.
Yeah.
Pray for us. And you know, I really feel like we deserve a little getaway after having to sit through The Nun 2 again.
Yes. You know, I kept getting this movie and the Nightmare movie mixed up, and I couldn't figure out why. It's because they both have, like, an abandoned area that's off limits. And spooky stuff happens there.
I know, like, when we were covering Nightmare 3, I watched The Nun 2 before I did my Nightmare 3 notes. And so I was sitting there, I was like, oh, yeah, they said that the place in Nightmare 3 used to be a monastery. I'm like, wait, did they? No, they didn't. No. That was in The Nun.
Yeah. It was just weird that we had 2 movies back to back that had, like, the same feature in them.
And they both had, like, a heavily Catholic resolution to them. And although I think Nightmare pulled it off better than this one.
Yeah. Do you have any horror movie news?
I have a very disappointing piece of horror movie news.
Oh, no.
It's not really horror movie news. It's a video game based on a horror movie. The amazing theme song from Killer Clowns from Outer Space will not appear in the Killer Clowns from Outer Space video game.
Oh.
So we don't get the awesome... And you know what? I'm kind of bummed about that.
Are you? I haven't seen that movie for ages.
Oh, man, that song goes hard.
You don't know what my news is?
I bet I can guess.
What is it?
Something about Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice! They released stills this week of the new Beetlejuice, and they released a trailer, but I haven't watched the trailer.
We don't like trailers for movies that we're really anticipating.
No, like something I'm really excited for, I don't want to watch the trailers for it.
I still haven't watched the trailer other than like what they had on the Super Bowl for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Yeah, I don't want to know what's going on. I want to go into it like...
All I know is Slimer's in it.
Yeah.
And the world is frozen. And that's about it. That's all I need to know.
That's good. But yeah, the shots look awesome.
Yes.
It looks like what I wanted it to look like.
Well, and I like that Beetlejuice looks more haggard.
Well, yeah, he's going to be.
Yeah. It looks so good.
It does. I'm excited.
And I love Jenna Ortega.
Yeah. She's like the perfect person to put in the cast.
Yeah. And her being the daughter. It's going to be so good.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
I'm wondering where Justin Theroux fits into it. Is he supposed to be like the new Otho?
I'm guessing that he is Lydia's husband. Is what I assumed. I don't know for sure.
But Catherine O'Hara looked perfect in the stills.
Her hair's so red.
Yes.
And I love her. Yeah. My other piece of news I told you about last night.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Shudder original movie, and it's called In a Violent Nature, and it's shot from the killer's point of view.
It looks interesting.
Now, we watched the trailer of it. I didn't think it looked that exciting.
Oh, I didn't say exciting. I just said interesting.
It just looked like a man walking through the woods a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, what was that Jennifer Lawrence movie that she got nominated for an Oscar for that, like, took place in Methville, Missouri? Like, that movie, I'd swear 45 minutes of it was just her walking through the woods to get places.
I can't think of what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Or like in It Follows, where half the movie was just them driving places.
Just a drone.
Like, oh, boy.
But yeah, if you want to watch something like from the killer's point of view, watch Leslie Vernon. What's that called?
Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
That's a good one.
Just watch that over and over and over.
It's good.
And shout out to Nathan Basil, who has just embraced that character, and he goes to all the cons.
Does he?
Like, he takes pictures with fans all the time.
Aww.
I love him.
He seems like, even in the movie, he just seems like a genuinely nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
That kills people.
Yeah. It's my dream to get him on the podcast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll work on it.
Okay. I'm sure he has a publicist or an agent or something.
Okay. Hey, do you want to listen or come on this podcast with two people
that you don't know?
That you don't know?
And they're 30-some listeners.
I thought you were going to say we were 30-somethings, and I was like,
oh,
no, honey, we're not.
I think he's our peer, though.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
You have anything else to talk about?
I don't.
You don't?
Do you want to dive into The Nun 2?
Not really, but I guess that's what we're here for.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So... The Nun 2. Electric Boogaloo.
No, oh, God. So if you haven't been able to figure it out already, we watched The Nun 2. It was released September 8th, 2023, starring Thaisa Farmiga, Jonas Bloquet. I did good. Storm Reed, Anna Popwell, Caitlin Rose Downey, and Bonnie Aarons. It was directed by Michael Chaves, written by Ian Goldberg, Richard Nang.
Yep.
Akilah Cooper.
You're so good at names.
I'm doing it. Produced by Peter Safran and James Wan. Cinematography by Tristan Newby? Maybe? Music by Marco Beltrami. The production company was New Line Cinema, Atomic Monster, and the Safran Company.
And Bill down the street, and that guy that owns the little grocery store.
It's definitely a new movie, you can tell, because like you sit through 13 minutes of production companies.
Yes.
It was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. It has a runtime of 110 minutes, which is way too long. A budget of $38.5 million. We don't have to update because this was last
it was
year.
Very recent.
And a box office of $269.5 million. It has a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 52% critic score and a 73% audience score.
Audiences are stupid.
They are. The Rotten Tomatoes critics' consensus: scarier than its predecessor, The Nun 2 makes an entertaining addition to the Conjuring franchise, despite not being the most original horror sequel.
Yeah. It is. I will give it that it is scarier. I think they build a lot more tension in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's not hard to get scarier than the original because the original wasn't not scary.
No.
And this one was a lot more laughable.
Yeah. Do you have any critiques?
I do, and they're really long, so I apologize for that.
Okay.
Peyton Robinson said, "As the series' titular nun, Valak is the core of the film's horrific efforts. And yet, The Nun 2 performs accidental exposure therapy, showing their monster at absolutely every turn, almost immediately desensitizing us to her presence. There's a reason boogeymen and ghosts are feared in the shadows. Their mystery breeds fear. Valak, again played by Bonnie Aarons, is spotlighted at every turn, from traditional hero shots to terrible CGI renditions that occur with fatiguing frequency. She becomes an expected visitation rather than an intentional thrill, and what is meant to startle only provokes a sigh."
I like that.
Yeah.
That's 100% correct.
Like, the scene in the hallway where the delivery kid sees them, and, like, it is a hero shot.
Yeah.
Like, they see Valak,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, oh, let's build the score. No, that comes at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do that at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it, 22 minutes in?
They just showed you Valak a lot.
Yeah.
Which makes them not scary.
Yeah.
Claire Schaefer of the New York Times said, the film runs like a haunted clockwork. Which isn't a very good sentence.
No, not really.
Shoving characters down dark alleyways or abandoned chapels every 5 minutes with little justification. Scene after scene builds fear and tension, and then a monster appears. And then, not much else.
See. Luis Palamas Diaz of Horror Press said, everyone who sees this movie will agree that the set design is incredible. The Nun liked to bask in dark corridors and open spaces that made shots visually boring rather than spooky. The Nun 2, in contrast, has these terrific, rich environments throughout the boarding school that are filled to the brim with set decoration that all falls into the right place. The rooms feel layered and full, and they actually help generate a lot of tension. I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. The set's good.
Yeah, it's glorious.
Yeah.
Although I will say they use that windowed hallway way too much.
Yes.
The hallway that leads to the chapel.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, great, we're back here again.
Back in the hallway. Jenny Nuff from the Austin Chronicles said, The Nun 2 might be a step up from the slog that was The Nun, but that's a low bar to creep up from.
Amen, sister. Ellen Jones of The Observer says, there's nothing scary about the demon nun who returns to terrorize France in this pointless sequel. They went on to say, here's a sequel to a spin-off of a sequel with no reason to exist except the most badly commercial.
Well, they told you how they felt.
Tell us how you really feel, Ellen.
I don't have any more. Do you have any more?
I don't.
Okay.
What were your initial impressions?
I put... To be completely honest, the only thing I remember about this movie was that it was bad and there was a weregoat.
Yep.
And then I think I blocked the rest of it out.
Oh boy, it was... They said the first one was a slog.
Yeah.
This was a slog.
Yeah. That's all I had to say, because I think I really just blocked it out.
Yeah. That's what you do with traumatizing events. I said, I hated this movie when we first watched it. I think we made it to maybe 40 minutes in before we just gave up and started riffing.
Mm-hmm.
All I really remember is there was a weregoat and a jeweled eye in a stained glass window that did something.
Yeah.
There were wine barrels that turned into Jesus blood, and oh boy, I'm not looking forward to this at all. The setting was good, as I can remember. So what do you think? Are we ready for a plot rundown?
I guess.
Okay, I'm going to take a drink of my LaCroix. La Croix.
La Croix.
Because we're going French.
Oh.
That's where my people are from.
Is it? I don't think I have any French in me.
Do you want some?
No, I don't.
All right. This movie is rated R for really shitty. We get the 19 different studios that came together to make this piece of crap. Then there's a kid kicking a soccer ball down some alleyways in Tarascon, France in 1956. A priest is getting some communion stuff ready and scolds the soccer boy Jacques for being late, before instructing him to go get the wine. The kid gets the wine off a shelf in the church basement. When he goes down the stairs, he feels something from the side room.
Ooh, it's creepy.
He puts down his soccer ball, climbs up the little steps that the priest set there for him so he can get the wine off the big bookcase.
Just shelving,
Yeah.
I guess. I'm not sure why they keep it up so high.
He gets it, and he turns around, and the soccer ball moves. Oh no. So he goes upstairs. He's kind of scared. There's a church service, and little Jacques gets the important job of ringing a bell twice. After the service, he has to clean the communion chalice and return the wine to the basement. The steps that he uses to get up to the wine shelf are sitting at the bottom of the stairs with his soccer ball on top of them. He thinks this is odd, but moves them to do his wine chore. Then, his soccer ball rolls in from the other room. He hears some growling and kicks the ball towards the growling sound. There's a cracking noise from behind him, so Jacques turns to look toward it. Then the wine bottle shatters, and he nopes the fuck out of that basement.
I marked here that I fucking hate how dark some of the Conjuring movies are.
Yes.
When I was watching this, I was sitting in a completely dark room. My laptop light turned all the way down, and I still struggled to see what was happening.
I cranked the brightness on my TV all the way up to 100 and turned my contrast way up.
Yeah.
And I could still barely make out what was going on.
Yeah.
In a dark room.
Mm-hmm. Use some light, people.
Yes.
Just a little bit. I mean, it can be dark, but I need to be able to see what's happening.
I like that things can hide in the shadows.
Yeah.
But I don't like that the entire set can hide in the shadows.
Yeah.
So after he nopes the fuck out of the basement, little Jacques tells the priest that there's someone else in the church with them. Then they hear scary noises. Of course, they follow the scary noises to the sanctuary, where there are more scary noises. There's creaking and growling, and they hear breathing. Then the priest breaks the horror movie rules and asks who's there.
Don't do that.
Nope. Then he threatens the whomever by telling them that God is watching them because they are in a church.
And I don't think that this person cares if God is watching them.
No. The holy water stone receptacle thing that I bet has a really neat name starts to boil.
This was pretty cool.
Yes.
Like, I don't know that I've ever seen this imagery in anything else.
No.
To where, like, I mean, it might boil, but to where it was, like, so hot that it boiled dry.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty badass.
All of the holy water boils out, and when the steam starts to clear, we can see a nun in the shadows. She opens her eyes, which glow yellow. Demons don't have gender.
She presents as female.
Okay. All of the candles in the church blow out, and then the priest is levitated several feet off the church floor. We hear bones breaking as he twists and contorts. Then he bursts into flames.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, this was a badass opening to a movie.
I will say the first, like, 40-ish minutes of this aren't terrible.
Yeah.
And then they just fuck it up.
Oh, boy. As soon as they see that painting of St. Lucy. So Jacques is not stoked about this whole priest immolating thing.
Yeah.
And just like he noped out of the basement, he nopes the fuck out of the church. We see the shadow of Valak exiting the church. As the camera moves down her form, we see the shadow is coming off a man in a hat and coat carrying a suitcase.
Oh.
So it appears Valak's inside someone.
Yep.
I wonder who it could be. The title pops up on the screen, and then there are nuns pushing a truck stuck in the mud. I bet that's symbolic of something somehow. We see Sister whatever her name was from the first movie in part of the group. They get back to the convent after pushing the truck out of the mud, and the Mother Superior, or Abbess?
She's probably Mother Superior.
Okay. Tells her that she needs to go straighten out Sister Deborah because she wouldn't go to confession. Well, Sister Deborah doesn't want to go to confession because she says she has nothing to confess. Sister Irene, oh, that's her name, finds Sister Deborah, and she's smoking a cigarette.
She's a naughty not nun.
They discuss their histories. Irene barely remembers her mother, but her father insulted her by saying she's just like her mother.
Yeah, that's not very nice.
Sister Deborah is from Mississippi, and some racist assholes burned their house down. So her dad made her brothers join the army and made her join the church.
So he just got rid of his kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh shit, somebody burned our house down. Go away, kids.
Yeah.
Now all of the nuns are peeling potatoes together in a circle, and they're gossiping and telling the story of the first movie. An older nun said that demons will take the form that they know will make you question your faith and weaken your spirit. She tells the group that the priest and nun who defeated the demon with a relic, that they got to kiss the Pope's ring for being heroes.
Oh boy.
What an honor. The priest was made a bishop, and the elder nun says that the nun who defeated the demon went insane, and the Vatican hid her away in some asylum. While this is happening, Irene is listening in on the conversation, and she looks rather uncomfortable and leaves the room. She looks kind of sad, angry, and embarrassed all at the same time.
None of the nuns are very good at peeling potatoes either.
They're going real slow. They're never going to fucking eat.
No.
Now we see some schoolgirls trapping roaches in a basement with a bunch of wine casks. And here's where we start. They just have to say the exposition. They can't let you come to a conclusion. They just have to spell it out for you.
Oh, yeah.
They say that their school used to be a monastery where all of the monks were fat drunks, and that's why there's so much wine down here.
Why do I need to know that?
I don't know.
I don't.
They run to their friend with the bugs, and they put them in a vent that goes into a room with a very proper old woman who is praying. She screams when she sees the roaches, and this makes the girls very happy. The score goes soft, and we see Maurice from the first movie tending to the courtyard garden. A teacher opens a window, and they share a good morning that seems like there might be a little more behind it. I feel like they might be sweet on one another.
I like Maurice.
I do too. Maurice goes into the school, and it appears that most of the kids like him, but one of the girls, who he calls Lieutenant for some reason, salutes him and even gives him a friendship bracelet.
Aww.
Before he can take it from her, the prankster girls from the last scene come and steal it and make fun of the other girl, whose name is Sophie, for having a crush on Maurice. The asshole girl tells Maurice that he can't make her give the bracelet back because he's just a servant. He tells the shithead girl that he might be a servant, but he still knows to treat all people well.
Good job.
He's such a good guy.
That girl deserves a kick in the face.
Yes. The older lady comes into the hall and blows a whistle and yells at the children for standing in the hallway. This is not a playground.
But it could be.
Well, everywhere's a playground if you want it to be.
Yeah.
Then she tells Maurice that there were roaches in her quarters again, and he must go take care of it at once. Post haste, Maurice.
Yes.
He goes off to take care of the roach problem, but first shows Sophie that he stole the bracelet back from the shithead girl. Then he alludes to being a pickpocket in a former life. Some shithead girls make fun of a girl who's making a delivery with a cart that she pulls behind her. She knocks on the door she's supposed to deliver to, but no one answers. As she gets ready to walk away, the door opens on its own. You can tell she's kind of freaked out, but she goes in, puts her delivery on the shelves in the pantry, and then she hears a choking sound from the end of the hallway and goes to investigate. Okay, she broke a horror movie rule.
The choking noise is so gross.
Yes. Do you want me to do it?
No.
I can do it if you want.
No.
So, I'm seeing a trend here. The writers watched Scream, and they were like, okay.
How can we break the rules?
Yeah. How can we make people die? All we have to do is break the horror movie rules.
Yeah. Who's there?
Go investigate a strange noise. So, this girl finds Maurice standing in a bathroom, gagging and making choking sounds. And he's kind of twisting and contorting all funny. She asks if he's okay, and he gets jerky and then whips his head around towards her. She bolts and runs into the hall, but trips over something. When she turns to see if she's being chased, Valak is at the end of the hall. The entire hallway gets bathed in red light from behind Valak. The girl screams and tries to run, but the door slams shut in front of her. Then Valak choke holds her up off the floor, and we hear bones crunch, and we see her feet as blood pours all over them.
There's so much bone crunching.
Uh-huh. So I think Valak ripped her throat out?
Sure.
Why not just show it? It's rated R.
I don't know.
Irene wakes up, and the abbess is standing in her room. Creepy, because we found out that abbess was dead the whole time.
Yeah.
She tells her that she has a visitor. Irene goes downstairs, but the Reverend Mother is nowhere to be found. Lights flicker in the hallway. At the end of the hallway, Irene sees Maurice. He says, "Save me, sister," and then gets a Valak mouth with gross fangs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Really bad CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Then Irene wakes up again. She was just having a nightmare. Deborah comes to comfort her. Irene has a nosebleed because someone decided long ago that psychic powers come with complementary nosebleeds.
Because your brain works too hard.
Oh, is that why?
It makes it bleed, duh.
Oh, so brain blood just comes out your nose.
Yeah.
Okay. Later in the day, Irene is praying in a chapel, and a nun comes to tell her she has a visitor. Just like in her dream.
Did she have a vision?
I think she did. Her visitor is a bishop or a cardinal or something, and he eats and scowls a lot while being waited on by 2 other nuns. He has a priest with him that looks like he's a vampire, and Irene calls him Your Eminence. So he's a higher up.
I think he's a cardinal.
I hate the Cardinals. Go Cubs. Maybe that tells us something about his title. I don't know. Whatever. He tells Irene that there have been some incidents that she needs to know about. The vampire priest guy shows her some photos. The first is from Hungary, where a nun shot herself in the head on the steps of a church. In Austria, a priest slit his own throat with his rosary during a Christmas mass. Yowza. In Italy, a novitiate hanged herself. In France, a priest was immolated. Hey, we saw that.
We did see that.
How come we didn't get to see the rest? That sounds like fun.
I don't know.
The Eminence man thinks that the demon she fought is still alive. The path of murders is moving west from Romania.
That's where she was.
Oh my goodness. Irene doesn't think that Valak could be doing this because the Jesus blood. Now we find out that Father Burke from the first movie has died of cholera.
R.I.P.
I don't get to see his fancy jacket and hat anymore.
Nope.
The Eminence man tells her that she needs to investigate this, as she's the only one who has dealt with something like this before. Really, nobody else in the Catholic Church has ever faced a demon?
Well, and the Catholic Church is not going to a woman to solve their problems.
No. She tells him no, and he looks like someone just kicked him square in the jimmy. He does not like being told no by a woman. Then he placates her by telling her that in Romania, she performed a miracle, and the church needs that miracle again.
Aww.
Now we see a train traveling through some absolutely gorgeous terrain. Irene has flashbacks of her mother, and it ends with Mama having a very concerned look on her face before Irene is startled by Sister Deborah. Deborah tells her that she followed her to look after her. Irene says that Deborah could be expelled for this insolence.
I don't think Deborah cares.
No, I don't think she wants to be a nun. Deborah tells her that she needs to see a miracle, and then talks about how she doesn't believe that the priest at the church turns wine into the actual blood of Christ. No shit, it's wine. Irene tells her that the wine becomes the blood of Christ because they believe in it.
I have a lot of respect for people who believe in their faith. Like,
yeah,
you get it. That's your thing. That's fine. I just can't comprehend it.
What's it called? Transubstantiation?
I don't know.
I do not understand that. I can understand thinking that God is in his heaven.
Yeah.
And he will make everything right as long as you put your faith in him.
Yeah.
I do not understand some dude saying some words over a cup of wine, and now that wine is Jesus' blood.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Make it make sense.
I can't.
Yeah, because it doesn't. I'm sorry if that's your faith.
Yeah.
This is just how we feel.
We respect you.
Everybody, do your thing, whatever makes you feel whole, as
That's why
long
I
as
said,
it's not hurting
I totally
anyone.
respect people that are Christians because it's just not something I can do.
Yeah. It just...
I can't have faith in something I can't see.
2 + 2 = I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for me.
No.
Irene tells Deborah that she is not ready because a whole cadre of nuns died facing Valak. And if Deborah doesn't find her faith, she will be next.
Oh.
Cut back to the school, where Maurice is watching the teacher with a grin on his face. I think he likes her.
She's very young looking, though.
Yeah, she looks quite a bit younger than him. She does have like a 12-year-old daughter.
Yeah, I don't think that she's that much younger. She just looks young.
So she's like at least, probably 26-ish.
Yeah.
26 to 30, maybe. The teacher sees him and dismisses the class for a little break so he can come fix a cabinet.
You think that she had a kid when she was 14?
She might have.
Okay.
Because she seems... What comes off of her character to me is a lot of like, hey, I've made mistakes in the past, but look at me.
Yeah.
I've turned it around.
That's true.
I just feel like that's her character. I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting.
You might be.
I had a kid very young. I birthed a child when I was very young.
You did not.
I did not. I've never birthed a child.
And you weren't young when we had a kid.
So the teacher has a bracelet just like the one Sophie made for Maurice. He fixes the cabinet and they share a very awkward moment.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's revealed that Sophie is Teacher Lady's kid. I'm sure he says her name at some point, but I don't get her name until like the last 8 scenes of the movie.
Yeah.
So I call her Teacher Lady.
I don't think they say her name.
I don't either. In the background, there's a spine and a pelvis hanging on the wall.
I noticed that too.
Was that just left over from World War II?
Probably. Let's decorate.
The shithead girls come into the classroom where Sophie is alone returning some books. They apologize to her for being bitchy earlier. Their words, not mine. They actually said bitchy, so I'm okay in saying that. I did not just call a little girl a bitch.
But you called them shitheads.
Yeah. They're obviously tricking her into something, and probably something awful, by pretending they want to hang out with her. They break into a chapel that Madame says is off limits. Madame is the fancy lady. It looks like a bomb went off inside, and there's a statue with a sheet covering it just inside the door, and the camera focuses on it for a long time, and the score gets very ominous. So I think we can guess that's going to come back.
Well, its head moved.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
No, its head moves.
Oh, okay. Sophie follows the shitheads to some stained glass windows where they teach her a game called Defy the Devil. They have to stand in front of the window with the goat on it. They tell her that if you stand in the right place at the right time of day, the devil goat will look at you. If you turn away, he'll get you.
Oh.
The sun comes in at just the right angle and lights up a red jewel in the eye of the stained glass goat. And it glows red, like the devil.
Yeah. Why do they have this?
I don't know.
Okay.
Why do you have a devil goat?
I don't know.
The lead asshole girl tells Sophie not to look away no matter what she hears or sees. Then the asshole girls leave Sophie alone staring at the goat window.
That's not very nice.
Some wind starts to rustle leaves on the floor in the old chapel, and the score gets very scary. I will say the score in this movie is very good.
Yeah.
The sun moves out of the right angle to shine through the goat's gem eye, and we can see the outline of Valak behind Sophie. She gets scared and takes off running back for the door of the off-limits chapel. The shitheads pull the door shut and trap her inside, because they're shitheads.
Yeah.
There are creaking and groaning noises, and then the covered statue starts walking towards Sophie. As it steps forward, the sheet starts to come off of it. It gets close, and the sheet comes all the way off, and we get a very quick glimpse of Valak coming towards Sophie. She falls, and then the statue falls on the ground next to her. The chapel door opens, and it's Maurice come to save the day.
Yay, Maurice!
Sophie gets out, but she's super freaked, and the asshole girls make fun of Maurice again. He doesn't look well.
No.
And he yells at the girls, and then he comforts Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
He asks her what happened in the chapel, but she tells him, nothing went down, just, normal stuff. Sophie's mom comes and scolds her for not being in class, but Maurice tells her that the shitheads were just being shitheads. My words, not his.
Yes.
I'm already sick of the awkwardness between Maurice and Mama Teacher Lady.
Here I felt like it wasn't like sexual tension. I almost thought it seems like she thought that he was grooming Sophie.
Oh.
Because
she
didn't see the other girls.
Yeah.
And you just brought my kid out of a secluded place.
Yeah.
Alone.
Like,
and
Maurice?
She's making you a bracelet.
Like, Maurice, what are you doing to my kid?
That was the feeling I got at that point, was it was like she wasn't sure whether to trust him or not.
Yeah. She thought there might be some impropriety.
Yeah.
Now we see Deborah and Irene just marching down an alleyway. And it looks very familiar, like we saw it in the opening scene of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But this time it's not dark.
Nope.
Irene looks at Deborah like she is not ready for what is to come.
She's not.
A nun at the church from the opening scene says that people won't come to Mass anymore because they think the church is cursed and the devil came in and burned up the priest.
Well,
why won't you come to church here? There's a stain on the church steps where they found the priest dead. Well, maybe clean that.
That might help.
Paint over it. Then Irene slips into one of her little visions where she sees the burnt up priest. The door behind her opens, and she turns around to see Jacques from the opening scene holding out a rosary to her. Deborah checks on Irene because she's acting weird and just completely checked out.
Mm-hmm.
But Irene says, I'm okay. Then she asks to see the father's room. They notice a creepy painting on the wall of Saint Lucy, who is the patron saint of the blind. She had her eyes gouged out by pagans after they tried to burn her at the stake, but it wouldn't work. She didn't burn.
Damn pagans.
The nun, giving them the tour, tells them about Jacques, but said his mother won't let him talk about what happened. They did used to have a handyman who worked at the church, and he left the day after the priest died. The handyman was a world traveler who came to them from Romania, where he earned his nickname, Frenchie. We know him.
We know him.
It's Maurice. I didn't see that coming. Irene knows him. Now we get a flashback to the last time Irene saw our dear Maurice. He told her he was going to Hungary, and she thanked him for saving her life. He tells her that, it's no big deal, but now you owe me a life debt, and we will be tied together for eternity. And he says it with this cute little grin on his face, and he's just so lovable. She gives him a packet of tomato seeds since his dad was a tomato farmer, and he wanted to have a farm someday.
That's so nice.
I love this scene. It's like, hey, we went through some scary stuff together.
Have some tomatoes.
We have bonded. You know, Maurice, go live out your dreams.
Yeah. They do have like a nice friendship.
They do. And I like that they didn't try to complicate it with romance.
No, they're just friends.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Back in present time, Deborah asks a very freaked out Irene who Frenchie is. She fills Deborah in on the end of the last movie, and we find out that Frenchie was possessed by Valak during the exciting conclusion to The Nun.
We knew that.
That's how Valak is traveling around and doing the killings. And I don't like the scene where Valak pukes a snake into Frenchie's mouth.
Ugh.
I don't like puking things into people's mouths.
No. But you'll baby bird.
Oh yeah, I've baby birded friends before. If you guys don't know what baby birding is, it's when you chew up some food real good and spit it into your friend's mouth.
Yeah, don't do that. It's gross.
I've done it to 2 different people. I have never received baby birding, though.
You haven't?
No.
Okay, that's good. It makes me feel a little better.
Cut to Maurice tending to some tomato plants in the school's courtyard.
Do you think they're Irene's?
I hope so. Teacher lady awkwardly approaches him, and she thanks him for helping out with Sophie. We find out that Madame's son, Cedric, was killed in the chapel during the bombings in France. Sophie looks on with a smile as her mom and Maurice talk. They separate, and Mama Teacher Lady confronts Sophie about spying on she and Maurice. Sophie looks out the window again and sees Maurice chasing some birds away from his tomatoes. Then he goes all weird, like he did in the bathroom earlier, and just kind of straightens up and tilts his head toward the sky.
It's almost like he's having, like, a seizure, but not.
Yeah. Sophie's mom calls to her, and Sophie follows but can't quite catch up. Her mother goes up lots of flights of stairs into the creepy and unused part of the school church place. I call it the school church place.
Okay.
From behind Sophie, we can see Valak's silhouette in a doorway. The door closes on its own, and Sophie goes to investigate. No, just run away.
Yeah.
When Sophie opens the door, we see the familiar and awful wallpaper from the Warrens' house.
It's a portal to hell.
The hell is the Warrens' house. Valak is standing at the end of the hallway, being all scary-like. Sophie is creeped, and then Valak rushes at her with a shriek. But it's just some crows that were flying at her face.
That part was scary. It was creepy.
I think I'd rather have the demon coming at me than some birds, though.
Yeah.
Especially crows.
Ugh.
I've played the Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
I don't like crows anymore.
But you can teach them to do fun tricks.
You can. They're very smart.
I know.
And they actually seem personable.
Mm-hmm.
Sophie runs down some steps and is face to face with Valak again. But a door opens downstairs and floods the stairwell with light. And what we thought was Valak just turns out to be a water stain on the wall that looks exactly like Valak.
Which I thought was kind of cool, too.
Yeah.
Like, it was a different way for her to hide.
Uh-huh. Can we talk about the fact that this place seems to be kind of a posh private school for little rich asshole kids? And judging by the behavior of the little assholes there, I think they're rich.
Yeah.
Because, they're singling out the girl they think doesn't belong.
Mm-hmm.
She gets to go here just because her mom's a teacher. And she doesn't even get to wear the same uniform that they do.
Well, they do that because that way we know which one's her.
Oh, okay. But why is this place so run down and gross?
I think it's because they're still rebuilding. Like, World War II wasn't that long ago.
Like 8 years ago.
Yeah, but think in that time, it's not like they had, like...
Paint?
Europeans aren't worried about paint.
Oh.
Especially a place like that, you wouldn't paint that place.
Why?
It's all, like, concrete and stone.
You can paint anything.
I know, but they don't paint things like that. There's no paint in castles.
Too true.
Yeah.
But this is a monastery, not a castle.
This is the same thing.
Don't you want to glorify God?
A monastery is a castle for monks.
Oh, monk castle.
Yes.
Can we start a website called monkcastle.com and just sell weird shit?
This is our wine.
Yes. We cut back to Deborah and Irene, who are checking into a hotel. There's some confusion about their reservation, and Deborah decides to go Karen and talk to the manager.
Good job, Deborah.
Irene goes outside for some reason. She just can't even.
She can't handle it.
And Jacques runs by with some other soccer-crazed French kids. He stops to tie his shoe, and eerie breath sounds tell Irene that this is the boy she's looking for.
It's so nice that he had to stop and tie his shoe.
Yes.
So fortunate.
Irene recognizes Jacques from her vision and creeps him out by saying his name and almost running at him.
Yeah.
She interrogates him about what he saw and asks him about the rosary. He admits that he stole the priest's rosary because he was scared. He wanted it to protect himself.
I don't blame him.
The boys run back by her, and Jacques falls into the crowd and runs away. They run around a corner, and Irene follows. But then, they are nowhere to be found. So did Jacques even exist?
I'm not sure.
This scene,
it
makes no sense.
No.
It's totally unneeded.
Yep.
She goes down some more alleyways and is teased by visions of a fleeing Jacques. I love saying Jacques.
I'm going to say he's not there because of what happens next.
Yeah. I just don't get it. Irene comes to a newsstand in the middle of nowhere in some alleys.
Yeah.
There's no one manning it.
No.
I don't know. The pages on the magazines start to flutter in the wind. The lights above the newsstand flicker, and the pages start making creepy images. Every once in a while, we get a quick little hint of a nun's habit.
It's cool because, like, it starts off as a face at the bottom of the page, like, the bottom of the rack.
Yeah.
And then, like, you see the face, like, raise and raise and raise until you finally see her, like, in full habit.
Yes. So now it looks like the images on the magazine pages have made a full image of Valak with her arms outstretched towards Irene.
So scary.
Irene turns her back on the spooky image when she hears a noise behind her. She turns back and the lights flicker again. The image comes to life and Valak grabs Irene by the throat. And this triggers another Irene vision.
She's not going to be able to fight Valak if she keeps having visions.
I know, like, quit going to sleep. She sees a woman on her knees in front of a bonfire. A scary man in a red robe stabs the woman's eyes with a dagger. Then we see a little receptacle that looks like gilded.
Mm-hmm.
And the kneeling woman holds it out in front of her. It floats up off of her hands. And where her eyes were, it glows. And then Irene is lying on the ground in the alleyway. Deborah finds her and starts shouting for help because Irene is so unconscious right now. Now we're back at the school where Madame is praying at her little prayer desk in her room. She hears spooky noises. Of course she goes to check them out. She goes down the windowed hallway that leads to the chapel. She finds one of the doors in the hall open and closes it. Oh, and I forgot to mention that when she's at her little prayer desk, we see a picture of her son Cedric.
Oh, yeah.
Up next to the candle. She sees Maurice standing in front of the chapel doors and hears thudding on the other side of the chapel door. Maurice is being scary, but Madame still approaches him for some reason.
Yeah.
She puts her hand on his shoulder and it scares the shit out of him.
Well, he's like in his little trance.
Yeah. He turns around and he looks bad.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he's going through heroin withdrawals.
He looks like he's been hitting the heroin pretty hard.
He has big dark circles beneath his eyes, and he's very sweaty.
Yeah.
He apologizes to Madame for being fucking weird, and she tells him to go night-night. He leaves, but then Madame hears a voice call to her from inside the chapel. The voice calls her Mama.
Uh-oh.
Her son died in that chapel.
I know.
She unlocks the door and goes inside the chapel, where she catches quick glimpses of someone running away from her.
No. Don't do that.
No.
Don't go in the chapel.
I thought you were telling me no. I'm like, that's exactly what happened, Mandy.
That is exactly what happened. I'm saying she's dumb. Don't do that.
Yeah, you know your kid's dead.
Yeah.
Don't go following his dead voice.
No.
Well, the thing that's running away from her is wearing altar boy clothing.
Oh.
Just like in the photo of little Cedric. She goes into the stained glass window room, and she sees a boy in altar boy attire. She recognizes it as her son who died. He plays some cat and mouse games with her, and for some reason she just keeps following him.
Mm-hmm.
I would be out of there, but, oh well, this is good for the plot.
No, I would just, leave.
Yeah.
There's lots of spooky shit happening.
She looks around the room all scared-like, and we see scary little Cedric coming up behind her, swinging his incense Bernie thing that I bet has a crazy name.
Thurible.
A thurible. That's nice. Sounds like... I wouldn't picture that to be something that burns incense that you swing back and forth. It sounds like a kitchen utensil.
I looked it up.
Nice. She spins around, she shines her light on him, but he disappears, and the incense Bernie thing, the thurible, drops to the floor. Then it flies across the room of its own accord. So she spins around again to follow it.
Can I stop you right there? Because when I looked this up to see what it was called, then I was like, oh, I wonder if you can buy church incense. So I got on Amazon.
You can?
You can buy church incense, and you can buy thuribles.
What does church incense smell like?
I think it's frankincense and myrrh.
Oh.
But I wanted to get some because it actually does smell really good.
Does it?
Yeah.
I like neg.
So I'm going to make our house smell like church.
Oh, boy. Are we going to start having services?
Well, yeah. Remember I found out we could buy the wafers.
Oh, yeah. I just thought of Dane Cook's little bit where he's talking about going to mass.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, the priest, he had a whole bowl of them.
Yeah.
I just want to pour them in my cereal bowl and eat them like Christ checks.
Dump the wine over them.
And what is it? When he's acting like he's eating them out of the bowl and he, hallelujah, hallelujah. Yeah, we used to watch Dane Cook.
Yeah.
We're old. Cedric is standing in front of her in full altar boy regalia with his head down. We can see that his eyes are all black. And then there are bone cracking noises, and Valak's hands come out of the darkness and wrap around Cedric's shoulders. He charges forward, swinging his thurible at his mother. He beats her about the head and face with it several times, knocking her back a few steps each time. Then she backs into an A-frame that has a hoist hook on top of it. The hook falls and slams her in the head, and she falls down. I think she died.
I think so, too.
There's a very pointless shot of the hallway outside the chapel, and all the lights turn on for some reason. Were the lights not working before? Because I got the impression that it was just nighttime and everyone was asleep, so that's why the lights weren't on?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's another wasted shot.
Yeah.
Irene wakes up to a doctor checking her out in a hotel room. Deborah is there and asks her what the fuck was up with last night. Irene tells her that she had a vision and she saw what the demon wants. Whatever it is powerful and a coveted prize, an ancient relic. Oh God, this is just like the last movie.
Well, how does she know that that's what the demon wants?
Because she had a vision, Mandy.
Oh, okay.
It's in a gilded thingy.
Oh, so that's just automatically what it wants?
Well, yeah.
Oh.
It has been using Maurice to find the relic, and it's going to kill him when it finds it.
Oh, we gotta save Maurice.
Yes. Deborah found the altar boy while Irene was passed out, and he gave her father, is it Norier?
Norier?
Norier's rosary. It has some weird symbol on it, and it matches a symbol on another rosary in one of the photos from their official Catholic Church Valak Crimes dossier. It's a clue, Scooby-Doo. But how are they going to find out what it means? Guys, I don't want you to worry. Dear listeners, it's okay. Irene knows a guy.
Yeah.
She has a friend in the Catholic archives.
She's got a guy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Irene's got connections.
Yeah.
She kissed the Pope's ring.
Now she's got the hookups.
It's all about networking.
Yeah.
This is her LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Back at the school, Sophie's mom, Maurice's wannabe girlfriend teacher lady, is walking down the windowy hall and notices the chapel door is open. She goes in and finds Madame all dead and bloody. Her body is hauled out, and everyone seems very sad.
Oh, no.
Mama teacher lady can't find Sophie and enlists Maurice's help to track her down. He goes to the basement room with all of the wine barrels and finds some beads lying on the floor, which of course means that Sophie has to be very high up in this room.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Well, yeah, the beads are on the floor.
If the beads are on the floor in the basement-y wine room, that means she is very high up.
Yes.
He walks up a bunch of stairs and finds her sitting in some rafters or something. We don't know what this room is.
I said, it's like fucking Narnia or the TARDIS.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like a little hobbit's hole.
Shout out to Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet.
It looks like a hobbit hole from the outside, but inside it turns into a fucking barn. I really think it's actually like a cavern to store like cheese and wine. Like
I love cheese.
I know. But I think that's what it actually is. It's like a big...
Yeah. And then they just built the belfry on top of it?
I don't think the belfry's in it.
Yeah, we find out later that she's up in the belfry.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Like where he goes up to is the belfry.
Oh.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah. This movie. So he walks up a bunch of stairs and he finds her sitting in some rafters or something, and there are ropes all around. You know, why not? I don't understand where she is, but hey, here we are. Sophie is sad about Madame being dead, even though she seemed like a real asshole.
Yeah.
She tells Maurice that Madame never went in the chapel. It doesn't make sense that she went in there last night. Then she tells him that there's something in this school, and it doesn't feel right.
It's you, Maurice.
Yes. Maurice asks her what happened and if she saw anything. She tells him no, but she has a bad feeling. He tells her that he gets scared too, but fear is good because it can make her do some really badass things. He doesn't say it that way, but
No.
that's the gist.
Yeah.
She's happy that he still has the bracelet she made for him, and they have another nice bonding moment and they leave to go find her mom. I really love that they show Maurice as just this big, sweet dude who has everybody's best interests at heart. It makes it really sad that he's all possessed by the demon.
Because he's just like a big teddy bear.
Yeah. Now Irene and Deborah hijack a cab using their Catholic powers, go to the archives.
They just steal it from somebody.
Yeah, this guy's getting in. They're like, sorry, official Catholic Church business. They give Irene's contact in the archives the rosary, and he shows them the symbol in one of his big books. It's a family crest for St. Lucy's family. Then it all clicks into place for Irene. Valak wants St. Lucy's eyes. St. Lucy's family escaped after she was killed, and they protected the eyes as a holy relic.
I'm going to say the eyes aren't there anymore.
I think those would rot. No, because they're holy.
Oh, yeah.
Holy preserve. That's what we could sell on our website, holy preserves. We could just pray over some strawberries and be like, this is our holy preserves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Sounds good.
Monk's Basement Preserves. Deborah asks a good question and wonders why Valak wants some eyes. The archives contact tells her, because it's a demon. Like, duh. All they do is want random stuff. Don't you know anything? Then he posits that the demon was once an angel, and it wants its God-given powers back, and it's going to use the eyes to get its powers back. But then he tells Irene she can use it just like she did the Jesus blood. Well, yeah, because that worked out so well.
Okay. He doesn't know what the demon wants, but he knows that the relic will send it back to hell?
Yes.
What?
And he knows that the relic, that they know nothing about,
Yeah.
will give the demon back its powers.
Yeah.
We're jumping to a lot of conclusions here. So the archives guy thinks he knows where the eyes are. A monk named Jean-Paul Redard had them. He buried the eyes in his monastery, But it's not a monastery anymore. It's a boarding school.
Mm-hmm.
OMG.
Mm-hmm. We've been there.
We have. The archives guy tells Irene that they have to go tonight, but they don't know what the relic can do, so be very careful. Also, the demon can take on any form and will prey on your fears and the fear of all those around you. So he went from, fuck, I don't know, to I know everything.
Yeah.
Yep. That's this movie.
Uh-huh.
We cut to Maurice making some food.
It's not even bad yet.
No. We're just minutes away. We cut to Maurice making some food, and he's dressed nicely. He's wearing a sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Sophie comes in, and they have another nice bonding moment over the cooking. Irene and Deborah are in a car, traveling to the boarding school. Irene admits that she lied to Deborah earlier about remembering her mom. She remembers everything about her. She had visions too, and was deeply religious. Her father didn't believe in her mother's powers and claimed her as a heretic. Then her dad had her mom institutionalized, and Irene never saw her again.
What a dick.
I just like that you could just... You know what, guys? My wife is weird. Can you just lock her up for me?
Yeah.
What a time.
I would definitely be locked up.
No, because you're my entertainment. Back at the school, Maurice is dancing with Sophie to some records. Sophie backs out and tells her mom that she should have a dance with Maurice. Little Sophie's playing matchmaker.
She's doing a good job.
She wants Maurice to be her dad.
Yeah.
Teacher Mama and Frenchie have a nice dance together, and it appears it's just a wonderful time.
Well, and Frenchie is just so damn charming.
He is.
When he's not scary.
And he's so tender.
Yes.
Then there's a super dramatic shot of the car Irene and Deborah in. It's going all fast and furious through the streets of France.
They're in a cab.
And it is fucking flying.
No cabbie is going to drive like that.
By order of the Catholic Church.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Back in the school, Maurice collapses while dancing with Teacher Mama and starts choking and gagging and shit all over again.
Ugh.
She finds the upside-down cross on the back of Maurice's neck. And she says, "There's something under your skin."
Yeah.
It looks like it's branded.
Oh, I thought it looks like it's like something under the skin.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I thought it looked like he was branded.
No.
We see a painting of some dude on the wall behind Sophie. Maurice looks up at Sophie, and the painting behind her has turned into the painting of Valak that we see Ed Warren paint in The Conjuring 2, even though that hasn't happened yet.
It's magic.
It's like he pulled that painting from the past.
Yeah, maybe.
In pretty awful CGI, Valak's face comes out of the painting and growls and gets dog mouth.
Yeah, I will admit this made me jump.
Oh, yeah. It's a good jump scare, but it's shitty.
But as soon as the dog mouth comes out, you're like, oh, I'm over it now.
It's really shitty CG.
Yeah.
Maurice, Sophie, and Teacher Mama run away. They get to the front door and find Deborah and Irene standing there. Maurice says that Valak is back, and Irene explains that the demon is living inside of him.
Oh, no.
Then we get all dramatic, and she tells him, "It's all my fault, because you came back to help me."
Oh.
Frenchie gets all twitchy, and the bone-cracking noises start, and then he looks at Irene with evil Valak eyes and says, "Hello, sister. Rawr."
Arr.
And the movie just totally took a shit on itself.
Yep, this is where we end.
Yep.
If we just ended it right here.
It was pretty good.
It was
Up to
okay.
this point. Up to this point, I could have given it a 7.
Yeah. And now we fall.
Be ready for the downslope, kids. Frenchie turns around and walks away, but Irene gives chase. He punches her into some windows, and then Deborah jumps on his back to try to stop him. He flips her to the floor all judo style. She grabs onto his leg, but he force pushes her away like Darth Vader. Then Irene holds up a super powerful rosary and commands Valak to leave Maurice. He falls to his knees and stops moving, and Deborah clocks him with a piece of wood. Deborah and Irene chain Frenchie to a chair with a burlap sack over his head. They really like to do that in the Conjuring movies.
Yeah. It's spooky.
Yeah. Deborah wonders if this will hold him, and Irene dramatically says, "Let's work quick."
Oh, I don't think it's going to hold him.
I don't think so. She has no faith.
Nope.
Then they tell Sophie and Teacher Mama that Maurice is, sick. That's why we had to bash him over the head with wood. That's how you inoculate people.
That's why he forced through us.
Yes. They all go into the chapel to look for the powerful Saint Eyes. Irene says that Jean-Paul Radar would have left a way for other Lucy descendants to find the relic. Sophie tells her about the devil goat in the window and the game they play with it. Sister Deborah goes outside while Irene stands in the right spot for the devil eye to shine on her. Deborah shines a flashlight in the window from outside. The glowing goat eye makes a laser pointer type beam to show exactly where the relic is hidden.
That's fortunate.
It is. And, it's good that 11-year-old Sophie was able to connect the dots and be like, oh my gosh, I bet this goat eye is what does it.
Yeah. I've been playing with the devil, so...
Yeah. They pry up some floor stones where the eye told them the relic would be. Elsewhere, Frenchie wakes up from his wood knockout. He gets out of his restraints while the ladies dig. Sophie turns around and finds that the goat is now gone from the stained glass window. She is scared.
Uh-huh.
And, oh boy. I just want you all to take a few breaths, grab yourself a beverage.
Make it alcoholic.
Smoke some weed. Do whatever you need to do, because here we go. In the dorm area of the school, one of the shithead girls is awakened by thumping noises above her. She wakes up one of the other shithead buddies, and she hears it too. They think there's someone walking around upstairs, so of course they should go have a look-see.
Well, yeah.
And lead shithead girl is like, hey, go out there and check it out. Irene and Teacher Mama find the relic container. Irene opens it and finds the eyes of St. Lucy. Oh boy!
That was conveniently easy.
Yes. One of the shithead girls is wandering around looking for the invader making the walking sounds. Sister Deborah introduces herself to the shithead girl and says she's a friend of Kate's. So I guess that's Teacher Mama's name?
I guess. Sounds good to me.
We'll just call her Kate. Deborah shines her flashlight up the scary steps that Sophie walked up earlier in the movie. She sees a scary weregoat creature that comes running down the stairs towards shithead girl.
Okay.
I can't.
I just want to describe the weregoat to you guys because okay,
because we don't want you to watch the movie.
No, if you haven't watched the movie. Okay. So the stained glass goat is a normal goat.
Yes.
It's just a goat.
It's up on its hind legs.
I think it's got horns.
Yeah.
It's a goat.
Yeah.
What comes out of the stained glass?
It looks like a demented Sesame Street character.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's human-sized. It doesn't even really look like a goat. It just looks like a black figure.
It looks like a werewolf.
I don't think it looks like a werewolf.
It's
got a lot of hair.
It has hair.
It has way too much hair to be a goat.
Its face is very human.
It's very human-like.
Yeah. It just looks like a stuntman on all fours wearing a really shitty costume with his face painted gray.
It kind of reminds me of what's the other movie in the Conjuring universe where the scary demon's up in his room and they're playing tiptoe through the tulips.
Oh, that's Insidious.
Okay. It kind of reminds me of that demon, but
all black.
Furry.
Yeah. But without the cool red on its face.
Yes.
It's
bad.
Oh, man.
I guess we have to go back into the movie now.
I don't want to. Sister Deborah runs up the steps and drags the shithead girl back into the bedroom area just as the weregoat was about to get her. It bashes against the door, and Deborah asks what it is, and the shithead girl says, it's the devil.
Uh-oh.
Then the girls start getting tossed around the room like they're all being force-pushed by Darth Vader. The doors fly open, and the shithead girl that Deborah just saved starts getting dragged out into the hall by an unseen force. Deborah saves her again, and then the beds start getting tossed around the room.
This scene would have been super scary
if you didn't have the knowledge.
If I hadn't just seen a weregoat devil thing.
Yes. Why couldn't it have just been Valak's form floating down the steps towards the girl?
Yeah. I would have been okay with just a regular goat. Just keep it like a goat.
Yeah.
With some big horns and make it scary.
Yeah, have some scary noises happening.
Why does it have to be a weregoat?
I don't know. Back in the chapel, Kate, I guess, hears the screams of the girls and is going to rush out to save them. But then Maurice comes into the room. It's obvious that Frenchy man is all possessed up. He force pushes Kate out of his way with a growl. Then he tackles Irene and bashes her head against the floor a bunch of times. When he does this, the relic container rolls out of her hand. Sophie picks it up and runs off. Frenchie has Irene lifted over his head in a one-handed choke, but drops her when he realizes that Sophie is escaping with his coveted eyes.
I gotta say, Irene she suffers a lot of injuries in this movie and is totally okay. She got thrown into a huge glass window and was fine, and now she's had her head slammed against a cement floor.
She's getting choked.
Yeah.
She gets burned later.
She's doing good.
Yeah. She has the super god powers.
Yeah.
Deborah has the girls hidden away in a room, and the weregoat walks past with his hooves clip-clopping on the floor. The room where the shitheads fed the roaches into Madame's room through the vent. That's where they are.
Oh.
They take off the vent covers and start to climb into Madame's room. The candle on Madame's praying desk is lit, and there are scary sounds about the room. Lead shithead girl flashes her light around and sees cockroaches everywhere. Then she sees Madame standing in the room. But she's dead, so it's no good that she's standing there.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't head that way.
She backs out of the vent, but Madame's hands come through and pull at her. Deborah and the rest of the girls manage to pull her back from the vent, but that brings dead Madame through the vent with her. She looks at lead shithead girl and opens her mouth in a gaspy growl. Roaches spill out of her mouth and nose and eyes. And this is totally pointless and has nothing to do with the plot of the movie.
I agree.
Now we catch up with Sophie, who's hiding in her upstairs above the wine barrels area, and I don't know how to describe it. She hears footsteps, and we see Maurice coming straight up to where she is. He tells her, "It's okay. It's just Maurice."
It's not.
Irene is running down the windowy hallway because we haven't been there in 3 minutes, looking for Sophie. Maurice tells Sophie that he would never hurt her, and then he calls her captain.
Oh.
That's not her title.
No, she's lieutenant.
Yeah. The demon doesn't know shit.
Uh-uh.
Sophie is clutching the relic container to her chest, and it starts to glow. Maurice sees this and sticks his head in her hiding spot and growls. The relic container flashes, and it hurts or stuns Maurice, and then his eyes go full Valak. Sophie has time to escape, and she runs away. Outside, Irene sees shiny light coming from the belfry and very dramatically exclaims, "The eyes!"
Yeah.
Oh.
I just don't have a lot to say.
It's a slog.
Yeah.
Sophie is running away and Maurice is right on her heels. The whole belfry is shaking like there's an earthquake. The bell falls from the belfry and crashes to the ground, breaking lots of stuff on its way down. Sophie is stuck on a platform that is about to give way, and it reminds me of when Nicolas Cage and Amanda Kruger are stuck on that platform in National Treasure, but they have to save the Declaration from falling down.
Is her name Amanda Kruger? That's just what you said?
Isn't it? No. Isn't that her name? That's her name, isn't it? The actress?
Like Freddie's mom?
I'm pretty sure that actress's name is Amanda Kruger. I know her last name is Kruger.
No.
Yes, it is. I swear.
I don't think you're right.
I would put $20 on the fact that her last name is Kruger. It might not be Amanda. I might just have that because we watched Nightmare 3.
It's the first National Treasure?
Yeah. Well, she's in both of them.
It's Diane Kruger.
Oh, okay. Amanda Kruger. Yes, exactly. Sister Mary Diane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that scene.
Yeah.
Because, the platform's starting to give way. So the platform Sophie's on does begin to give way, but some of the random ropes we saw earlier just hold it in place.
That's fortunate.
Maurice pops up from beneath the platform and growls again. Sophie shrieks and kicks his face and he falls. Sophie gets to safety. Deborah is leading the girls down the windowy hallway, and it looks like she's leading them to the chapel for some reason. Why? That's where all the evil is happening.
No, that's a safe space.
Irene goes into the wine room that is at the bottom of the belfry, from what I've gathered. She walks through the rubble that the falling bell created, but the bell is nowhere to be found. It just, exploded.
At this point, I don't care.
Yeah. Sophie comes out and gives the relic container to Irene. Of course, that brings Maurice out because Valak wants that relic even though it hurts them.
Yeah.
It's like, ow, that thing hurts. Can I have it?
Because it's going to give them special angel powers.
Oh, yeah.
And then they can go to heaven.
I don't get it. Why does the demon want something that hurts it? Why is the thing that hurts it what can give it back its powers? Are its powers going to hurt? I don't know.
I don't know.
Irene holds the relic container out and yells, and it hurts possessed Maurice again.
She yells, "Demon!"
Ah! Now the background has to go all CGI with swirling dirt and stuff.
Yeah, because you can't do that easily with a fan and some dust.
Nope. Maurice has really bad eye makeup that's supposed to look like black blood or tears coming out of his eyes. He pleads with Irene to stop because it's killing him. Sophie is pleading with her to stop too. Maurice falls to the floor. Irene is sad. She has flashbacks of her good friend Maurice back when he was sweet, lovable Frenchie and not Valak-possessed scary man. The music gets dramatic. Maurice looks dead.
Oh no.
Irene kneels beside him crying. But he tricked us all. He wasn't dead. He looks at her with scary Valak eyes and growls and grabs the relic container.
Remember, they always come back.
Yep. It glows in his hands and then lights on fire. Deborah and Irene back away as Maurice cackles all demon-like at them. Then the room gets all CGI dusty again, and there are big thumps and rumbles all over the school. Valak rises out of Maurice in glowy glory with light behind her. Guys, there's no words.
I just don't understand why.
I would rather watch a dog take a dump.
I don't know about that, but...
Then her eyes light up and there's more growling. Grrr. Kate, I guess, is leading the rest of the girls down the windowy hallway and the lights go out.
We're in the windowy hallway again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we hadn't been there in 94 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So we had to go back. There are footsteps and growling and cracking noises. Then the weregoat charges them. They go back into the chapel and hold the doors shut against the charging goat. I can't. Back in the wine room, Irene starts praying against Valak, who responds by firing a chain at Deborah. If you pray against me, I'll hurt your friend with chains.
Yeah.
It wraps around her neck and drops her into a pool of wine on the floor. Guys, do you know where we're going to go from here?
I hope so.
Sophie nopes out and goes behind the wine barrels, but there's a scary Valak-type nun at both exits, but they don't have faces. So they're only half as scary.
No, they were like, that little scene was good.
Spooky, ooky.
Yeah.
Then Maurice busts through the racks of wine barrels and grabs Sophie. She slips away from him. Deborah is still chained around her neck, and Valak uses the force to raise Irene 20 feet off the floor in a crucifix position.
Uh-oh.
Just like they did to the priest in the first scene. Back in the chapel, Kate, I guess, has barricaded the...
I think we can assume her name is Kate.
I don't know. But she's barricaded the door, so the weregoat stabs through it with his goat horn and stabs one of the shithead girls through the shoulder.
She deserved it.
She did. The rest of the girls take off running deeper into the chapel. Is this over yet? Kate and the girls run back into the stained glass window room. There are noises all around them. Back in the wine room, Irene is still floating in cruciform. Valak growls and gets happy eyes. Then Irene's dress catches on fire and she starts screaming rather intensely. She does a really good job.
She does. And I put why is she catching on fire? But the priest erupted in flames and she's just simmering.
Well, and it starts at the hem of her dress and just starts creeping up.
Yeah. But I get my answer in a little bit, so.
Yeah. Oh boy, do we. She gets visions of her mom again. And then there are quick flashes of lots of stuff we've already seen in the movie, including the Warrens' hallway for some reason. Irene's eyes flash with fire when she comes out of the vision, and then the fire that was consuming her goes away. She falls to the floor in a puddle of wine. Valak growls again, because Valak likes to growl.
Mm-hmm.
Deborah was freed from her throat chain at some point, and she goes to Irene while Valak force throws random shit at them. They take shelter behind the barrels. There's wine spilling out of them from Valak throwing shit at them. Deborah tells Irene, "That was a miracle!" Yep, Irene does those sometimes.
Yeah, just sometimes.
Irene notices the wine leaking from the barrels, and guys, it gives her a great idea.
Yeah.
Then Sophie has to go ruin all of it by screaming and running because she heard a growl. She goes running into the middle of the room. She's standing in one of the wine puddles, and Valak growls, and the growling makes spikes come up out of the floor. The spikes come up out of the floor, and then Sophie and Deborah and Irene are all trapped by spikes that have come out of the floor because Valak growls.
Oh, boy.
Maurice comes out from behind the wine barrels carrying some sort of sharp object. Maurice appears to be ready to stab Sophie with his sharp thing, but he fights it off while Valak growls and snarls with their bloody teeth. Irene tells Deborah to pray with her. It's windy in there.
Mm-hmm.
The nuns put their hands in the wine puddle and start saying the transubstantiation prayers to make the wine turn into the blood of Christ.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good plan.
Can women do that? Is that allowed?
I don't know.
Irene gets visions again. Lots of quick cuts. The archive guy explaining the St. Lucy family thing and her mom. And then it hits Irene when her mom says, "You have my eyes." She's a direct descendant of St. Lucy, isn't she?
I put, at least it explains why she didn't burn right away.
Yeah?
But insert eye roll.
Mm-hmm. Eye roll. The nuns finish their prayer, and wine explodes from all the barrels for some reason.
Well, yeah, why does that happen?
Jesus' blood cannot be contained in oak barrels. It's very volatile.
We're almost done. You can do it.
The wine sprays all over Valak, who gets all melty like the Wicked Witch before she catches on fire. Frenchie yells in demony voice while the two nuns hold him down in front of the burning Valak. Sophie runs outside to the courtyard with her mom and the rest of the schoolgirls. Maurice stops yelling and tells Irene, in his nice boy whisper, "Sister, you saved me."
Aww.
Now it's morning, and Irene walks Frenchie out into the courtyard where he is happy to see his tomatoes. Sophie and Kate come over, and they're happy to see that Frenchie isn't possessed anymore. He wasn't cool that way.
No.
He hugs Sophie and apologizes to her, and she forgives him. He apologizes to Kate, I guess, and she nods at him. Irene watches them walk away back into the school. She's holding her super powerful rosary, and she and Maurice share a look. Then Irene gets a very worried look on her face and looks down like something is wrong. Credits.
Uh-oh.
But not normal credits, scary credits. The credits are fucking horrifying.
Yes.
There's all this, like, just discordant music and,
and scary imagery.
and, like, throat singing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. In the middle of the credits, we get a little scene where the phone rings at the Warrens' house, and Judy tells Ed that Father Gordon has called for him. He picks up the phone and says, "How can we help?" I'm not sure what this is supposed to mean. Is this them getting the call to come help with Frenchie's exorcism?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they didn't, like, maybe you could have had Father Gordon's voice on the other end of the line being like, "We have to go to French Canada.
Uh-huh.
There is a tomato farmer in need of our lordy assistance.
He needs an exorcism."
The end.
Thank
you that this is the end.
Yay.
Would you like to give us the start of the body count? This is a really hard one because do we count the people who were killed off screen?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. You just want me to start with number 1?
I guess.
Was Father Norier?
Norier?
He was burned up and crucified.
I said levitation immolation. That has to be a metal band name. Number 2, Delivery Kid. Neck crunch, bloodiness. I don't know.
It was crunchy.
Yeah.
And there was some blood. I went by your notes. I didn't look this up. It says nun lady shot herself in the head. Which one was that?
It was one of the pictures that vampire priest showed.
Oh, okay.
I think that was in Hungary.
Yeah. Okay, so you counted her and the other. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. Priest dude slit his throat with his own rosary.
And then we had Madame Laurent. She had a hook fall on her head.
Uh-huh.
It's one way to go.
Yeah. Mandy, what were your reactions?
It's not good. I said, I will admit it's not quite as bad as I remembered, but there are some really stupid parts. I did like the focus on women power because they didn't need a man to save them.
No.
And whose idea was the weregoat? Punch them in the dick.
Even if it was James Wan.
It would have been so much scarier, like, as an actual goat. Like, get one with big sharp horns and just, like, have a goat running around.
Yeah. And, like, you even could have blown up the size. Like, you could have done a Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Yes.
But a goat.
But not a weregoat.
No.
That's all I had to say.
It was concise. I like it.
Yeah.
I said it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going in.
Yeah.
It was just pretty bad instead of horribly bad. Honestly, if I didn't think that most of the Catholicism stuff was totally ridiculous, I'd probably like this movie. And by like, I mean I could give it a middle of the road.
Yeah.
It has some really scary bits, but they're overshadowed a lot by the Catholicism of it all. I hate the trope in horror movies where all you need to do is have Catholicism in your life and everything will be okay.
It solves it all.
The weregoat and the other schoolgirl scenes didn't do anything for the storyline.
No.
And they were just there for some cheap scares that didn't land.
No. It just lengthened the movie.
The whole madame with roaches spilling out of her.
Yeah. Why did we even need any of that?
No, we did.
Even with, like, her son dying, and she didn't even need to exist.
No. Like, it would have been really cool if Sister Deborah walked in, looked up and saw a little girl freaking out that it sounded like someone was walking above her.
Uh-huh.
And then she takes her back in the room. Beds start flying.
Yeah.
Little girls start getting thrown against the wall.
Yeah.
And she takes them to the chapel to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I had to say.
Okay. I didn't really find any interesting production facts about this.
There weren't a lot.
Both of mine aren't really facts. They're more like how it ties into the Conjuring universe, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
did you hear my voice crack?
Yeah.
I went through puberty.
So, this movie ties it into the Conjuring universe because Sister Irene and Lorraine Warren are both descendants of St. Lucy. I didn't know that Lorraine was, but she is.
Well, that's neat that they're played by sisters.
You say yours, and then I have another one.
The movie was not released in Lebanon due to its, quote, disparaging the Christianity, end quote. Disparaging the Christianity.
The Christianity. So there's rumors that Sister Irene is going to end up being a younger version of Lorraine.
Oh.
Which I'm like, I kind of like that idea.
Yeah. The movie was filmed in several historic locations, including an abandoned church and old monastery.
Whoa, they filmed them where it was, like, supposed to be?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think that was probably most of the budget because they definitely didn't spend it on good CG.
No.
I have one more. Valak is in this movie for 2 minutes and 57 seconds. And growling the whole fucking time.
Yeah. Do you have any goofs?
The weregoat.
Yep.
That's all I have.
That's it? Okay.
Mandy, who are you?
You're going to like this one.
Okay.
I'm Valak.
Uh-oh.
Because sometimes my eyes get really itchy and I want a new pair of eyes too. I'm also pale and look great in black. And let's face it, I have RBF too.
Yeah. You know what?
I know.
You're Valak.
I'm Valak.
I said, you're Kate Teacher Mama Lady, Maurice's girlfriend. You're going to protect the kiddos, I guess. I don't know. I hope we're not in this movie.
I put that you're Deborah. You're not down with the whole church thing, and you're going to rebel, but when a friend's in trouble, you're there.
When a friend needs help, you help them.
Yeah.
I said I'm the driver of the car that took the nuns to the school because I like driving like I'm in a Fast and the Furious movie.
You didn't want to be anybody in the movie?
No.
By this point, you're just kind of done with it. I get it. I know.
What were your final thoughts and ratings?
I gave it a 2 out of 10.
I gave it a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
So we have
a 3.
A 3.
I just really saw no point to this movie. I gave it 2 points because it did have a couple of scary scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But altogether, it was a lot of build-up without any scare. There was a lot of jumping to conclusions with Irene and her church friend. What was he?
The archivist?
Yeah. And they just, like, magically arrived at answers.
Uh-huh.
There was a lot of unnecessary CGI.
And not good.
No, like, why do you need to make smoke and wind CGI?
I don't know.
And then I put the Weregoat, just no.
No.
And let's just hope they don't make a Nun 3.
Oh, they will. This made, what, 268 million?
Something like that, a lot.
Yeah. They'll make another one.
That's all I put.
I'm surprising myself here and giving it a 4 out of 10. I thought this was going to be my first 0, but it really wasn't as bad as I built it up to be.
Yeah.
I took a point off for the Weregoat. I took a point off for the schoolgirl's final chase scene storyline. A point off for the stupid CGI dust and wind and Valak popping out of the painting. A point off for Irene jumping to ridiculous conclusions. A point off for the archivist jumping to ridiculous conclusions. And a point off for Catholicism in general. That's it.
That's it.
That's all.
Okay. If you like this movie, I'm sorry.
If you like this movie, I'm glad that
somebody likes it.
Yeah. Apparently people did because it has some good scores. But man, this is not for us.
We were not those people.
No. Give me a late 80s slasher.
Yeah. Got anything else to say?
I don't. Would you
All
like to
right.
tell the kiddos where they can find us?
I will. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Franchise Frights Pod, X or Snapchat at FFrightsPod, or you can go to our website, www.franchisefrightspodcast.com. And you can come back next Thursday, where we're going to make up for all of this by watching Child's Play 3.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So stoked. I love Child's Play 3.
I'm happy for you.
Well, guys, I guess until next Thursday,
Remember
they always come back. We never have to watch that movie again.